Thanksgiving Day 2006, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends released Good Wilt Hunting, a pretty odd special, all things considered. Now 2006 was a weird transition period for Cartoon Network where they just began production on their controversial live-action content, and some of the strongest shows of the era people kind of referred to as the CN City era, from like 2004 to 09, were releasing in 06, like Ben 10, My Gym Partner's a Monkey, and one of my personal favorites, Class of 3000. So I did what any normal person would do on Thanksgiving break and forced my friends to watch a 17-year-old cartoon special with me against their will. And the outcome is, interesting. So if you don't know what Foster's Home is all about, all you really need to know is there's a big foster home, but instead of children getting adopted, this home is for imaginary friends that can no longer stay with their families. It's a really funny found family cartoon, which lends itself well to a Thanksgiving special. And funnily enough, as the special was airing in 2006, Foster's Home had a float in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. They actually had a float for 3 years between 2006 to 2008, and in 06 they sang With a Little Help from My Friends by the Beatles, and it's kinda awkward.
Imaginary friends will star in their first original movie.
Cracking mischievous ringleader with a little help from his friends.
What the
and
f
crazy
is going on with
cohorts from
Coco's
Foster's
eyes?
Home
It was on her other eye.
Lend me your ear, then I'll sing you a song. And I'll try not to sing out of tune. Oh, I get by with a little help
What
from
the
my friends. Get by with a little help
He sounded like the It's Wednesday,
What
my
the-
dudes guy.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
But in their 2008 finale, you'll never guess what happened and what the song was. Like, it'd probably take 1,000 guesses.
People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's the
Oh my god.
person who loved me till the end. People, let me tell you about me. So much fun. Whether
Oh my fucking god.
It was at the height of it too.
So I really wanted to rewatch Good Will Hunting today, not just because it's Thanksgiving break, but it's a really odd special that actually is pretty dark. Like, I always thought Wilt was just a goofy sock puppet, but we find out in this special this isn't how he always looked. So this special starts with the Foster's adoption home holding a 5-year reunion where all the Imaginary Friends creators, who can no longer be with them, come back to visit. We see the big purple Eduardo reunite with his creator, a police officer who throughout the movie gives tickets for things that don't exactly feel right to me. She's gonna get another ticket.
I know, I ran a yellow light. Just give it to me.
Did she say I ran a yellow light?
Yeah.
That ain't a crime.
You gotta meet her quota.
That ain't even illegal.
She has to meet her quota. Coco, the dinosaur plane bird thing, turns out to be from some Pacific island where she was all alone, so they took her from her habitat and placed her up for adoption. I'm not sure if that was the best thing to do, but they kinda hint at some mystery of not knowing who Coco's creator is, possibly setting up a future mystery. Her foster parents are Mandark and I guess future Dexter, sorta. The creator of Foster's Home, Craig McCracken, also worked on Dexter's Lab, so this reference isn't as random as you might be thinking. I've talked about Craig McCracken a few times on this channel, like in an animation analysis I did on his most recent show, Kid Cosmic. So he's definitely one of the most prolific animated showrunners ever, but these two Dexter's Lab parody characters don't really add much to the film, but we do get this funny shot of them seeing Frankie for the first time.
Hey, everybody.
That's true. Oh.
Goodness
Jesus Christ.
gracious.
Wilt, this tall, friendly basketball lover, is pretty on edge and leaves the reunion watching everyone enjoy their day from afar. That's how I be every time I lose in Risk of Rain.
Me too.
That night, Wilt makes a phone call about settling a score and leaves with nothing but a knapsack on a stick like the sad ant meme. The next day, the gang looks for Wilt around the house, but when they see even his toothbrush is missing, they figure Wilt has run away from home for some reason. If we all lived in one house, could we have our toothbrushes like that and like...
Our little name things?
Fuck
Yeah, of
no.
course.
Honest to God, Mine would be a decoy. I would not want that shit near you.
Well, I keep my shit covered.
Mine would be like the door in Death Note, where if you take it out, it explodes. So the movie splits into two stories. The first is Wilt getting across the country while helping random people he runs into along the way. Wilt finds an umbrella while waiting for his bus, and when he returns it to the Lost and Found, he finds an imaginary friend who got separated from their owner. Each time Wilt helps someone like this, he ends up further delaying or sidetracking his journey, but is rewarded for his good deed in some way. Like the reunited family drives him to the next location, or at the next stop he sees a struggling farmer who he helps with his bales of hay by treating them like basketballs, and although he misses his stop, the farmer gives Wilt a crappy old lawnmower.
She ain't fast, but she'll get you where you're going.
That's the shit OJ got away on.
The idea of him, the
Riding a little
image
check.
of him with the like Studio Trigger amount of cars behind him chasing him, and he's on a fucking lawnmower.
The other half of this story is the Foster's crew hopping in the van and trying to find Wilt, but they're a step behind at each location, hearing tales of the tall red guy that helped them out. There's some funny moments sprinkled throughout, but you don't really get the typical jokes and humor of a typical Foster's episode.
I need pizza!
The Foster's crew travels seemingly all over the country, if not the world, to try and find Wilt. Like, they think he's in Mexico at first, and then they all end up flying to Japan, and with all the people they're bringing along, this has gotta cost like tens of thousands of dollars. Exhausted by this chase, the Foster's crew tries to think who would have imagined Wilt, and why would they have needed him. Eduardo's owner talks about how she imagined a big purple monster because she grew up scared in a bad neighborhood, but in a twist of fate, she ended up being the one who needed to be brave and protect Eduardo. It's a really cute little scene to show their friendship and definitely makes the mystery of who imagined Wilt all the more interesting. But before they can track Wilt down, we finally get to the highlight of this special, which is finding out more of Wilt's backstory. While Wilt's mowing some overgrown lawns on his Ford Bronco lawnmower, we see a flashback of Wilt playing basketball, and this scene is such a cool reveal to show Wilt wasn't imagined with one arm and a crooked eye, but something must have happened. We see Wilt play basketball with this kid, but Wilt soon reaches his destination in order to settle his score. We see this giant orange basketball guy with arms and legs, Foul Larry. All in his knapsack was the ball.
One item.
Oh god, this is scary.
That's all he
Look at
did.
that, look at that shape. And I think this is a good time to just quickly identify that Foul Larry is obviously branded after Larry Bird, who, fun fact, is the only person in NBA history to win MVP, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year in his career. Wilt is actually named after Hall of Famer Wilt Chamberlain, who has the most points ever in a basketball game. Wilt's never seemed to have even the slightest challenge in basketball in the past, as a 10-footer with a crazy wingspan and an automatic jumper, but Larry is bigger and stronger than Wilt, and what he lacks in finesse, he makes up for with dirty plays.
Bro, where the fuck is the ref?
Look at that domino.
Oh my god.
God,
That was like a
damn,
Tekken
Foul
move.
Larry.
Living up to the name, Foul Larry. We see Wilt take an early lead, hitting several jumpers in a row, but Foul Larry fights back in the best way he knows how, by body checking and playing rough. We even see Foul Larry make several dunks where he's crashing into a brick wall with nothing but a smile on his face. During the basketball game, we see a flashback to Wilt and his owner, Jordan Michael, playing a 2-on-2 game against Foul Larry and his owner. Yes, Jordan Michael, not to be confused with
Michael Jordan!
Stop it. Get some help.
At the end of this game, Foul Larry goes up for a shot, and instead of blocking the shot, Wilt decides to save Jordan from getting crushed. Wilt saves Jordan, but crushes his arm and his eye in the process. Jordan, however, is disappointed.
Oh man! We lost! We lost! We lost!
Yeah, he lost. It's not like my best friend just lost a literal eye and arm for me.
That's me at the end of the Risk of Rain run. That's
Returning to the present, Wilt's up by 1 and Larry's going up for a dunk. Wilt gathers himself to go up for the block, but at the last second is pulled away to safety by Jordan. Larry wins the game, running off and celebrating, and Wilt is reunited with his creator and the Foster's crew, where Jordan talks about that fateful day they lost and how he wasn't aware that Wilt got hurt or had run off. They're happy to be reunited, and Jordan asks Wilt to join him in his life of luxury as a professional basketball player, but Wilt declines, as he knows there's a kid that needs him more. It's a really sweet and selfless message to give up a life of luxury to help a kid that needs him, but sometimes you see these situations occur and think, how does someone like Wilt not get adopted by a kid day 1? Like, he's so swag. Anyways, we see some of the imaginary friends from Wilt's old neighborhood show up to Foster's, like Foul Larry, who turns out to be a bit insecure, and the special ends with Wilt just swagging in some one-on-one with Jordan wishing he didn't make Wilt so tall. So overall, the special is alright. It's sweet and gives a big backstory to Wilt while also telling us more about Eduardo and Coco, which is cool. I don't think the special is terribly interesting or funny though, but it's a very fun watch with friends. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you liked it, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you next week. Alright, bye.
It must mean so much for the imaginary friends to get to see their old creators.
Why don't the old creators just like take them back in?
well, but this is when whenever people needed to grow up still.
Oh my god, it's out of Jimmy's head.
It's him.
He was being Space Jam. If it's, I didn't expect to be reminded inside Jimmy's head exists.
Inside, it's out of Jimmy's head and reanimated.
I unironically liked Out of Jimmy's Head.
Me too!
I feel like I enjoyed it, but I knew like I shouldn't like it, but I did like it. And then I'd watch like George of the Jungle, the animated series, and be like, okay, I know I shouldn't like this.